Whether you're a new or returning player or even a veteran of the Elder Scrolls Online, you're probably wondering what's the fastest and most efficient power leveling method. How do you take a character from level 1 to 50 in only 2 hours? And what's the best way to crank through champion points and get caught up? Well, thankfully, I have the answers. Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from Deltiasgaming.com, and in today's video, I'm going to give you multiple methods for grinding experience points, champion points, and characters quickly. Some of the material is specific to your playstyle, so make sure to check the timestamps in the description below if you want to skip ahead, and please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed this content. We are going to start with some general rules for power leveling and grinding, and get to the spots specifically for solo, group, and the most efficient grinds possible. Rules for power leveling. I've spent what seems like an eternity in Elder Scrolls Online grinding, and I actually enjoy it. Killing mobs over and over, collecting experience, materials, gold, and chatting in Discord for me is quite enjoyable. But I know not everyone enjoys this, so here are my 10 general rules for grinding that will help you out whether you're new or experienced. 1. ESO leveling is based on nothing more than experience points. Whether you're going from level 1 to 50 or champion points, experience is all that matters. 2. You can grind at the exact same location, whether that be instance-based or open world in the overland. 3. You can stack multiple XP modifiers on top of each other to really boost the XP gains. 4. You need to prepare your gear and build that optimizes AoE damage, speed, and survivability. 5. I prefer stamina builds using dual wield and using my magic pool to heal with medium armor so you gain massive speed and massive AoE damage. Orc Stamina Sorcerer is my all-time favorite for grinding. 6. Make sure to unlock your skills prior to setting out. This includes Fighter's Guild most importantly, and even Undaunted, as some of this progression will not be retroactively granted to you. Number 7. Join a new player or trading guild, which allows you to travel to players in the zone for the best grinding spots and possible grinding partners. Number 8. Partner with another player and stay in a group of 2. Beyond this, you will lower your experience. 9. You can bring companions with you, so unlock them by doing a quest on each individual character if you have access and struggle with the combat, and or you just want to level them. His companions just work like players as well. It's just about experience. And number 10. Make sure you have consumables that aid in your recovery and healing, aka the Crown Store potions and the Crown Store drinks that you get for daily logins can be consumed at level 1 and extremely helpful while leveling. Now, who's excited to start grinding? Well, let's talk about the XP modifiers first so this is clear. XP modifiers, if you want to get the most out of your time grinding ASAP, stack as many of these as possible. Number 1, 10% for each armor and weapon piece training gear at purple epic quality. These stack on top of each other, so if you're fully committed to the grind, make everything training, and purple quality is a good go-to. Number 2 is an ESO Plus membership. Number 3 is being in a group with one other player. Companions don't count for this bonus. Number 4, one and only XP modifier, potion or scroll. These come in a variety, 50%, 100%, and the really expensive 150% XP gains. Make sure to slot the champion point perk rationer in the green craft tree to extend this timer, and even consider leveling provisioning and taking the connoisseur passive if you're going to consume a drink on your character. Number 5, 100% for double XP events. Some of these, like the Witches Festival or the New Life, require you to activate a drink or a buff roughly every 2 hours. So make sure to constantly keep checking your buffs and refreshing this when you can. And a bonus XP modifier here is for marriage in the game, which is a bit complex and don't consider this mandatory. Basically, you need a Ring of Mara, which comes in the Crown Store, or you get it if you buy a certain part of the game. You'll need to do a ritual at the shrine with another player, and you'll also need to equip the ring that you get in your inventory and keep it equipped the entire time. This is a lot of work for 10% experience, so consider this if you're super committed to grinding experience and getting those champion points up. I want to talk about grinding gear really quick. I know we're about to show off the grinds, but this will make a massive difference for people that do not know about these gear sets. Number 1, Heartlands Conqueror, 7 traits craftable in Blackwood. Double the weapon trait, which includes, you guessed it, training. Usually I go with 3 body pieces and a front bar weapon and a back bar weapon. Get the most out of that training trait. Plague Break. This is a PvP set that can be obtained doing PvP activities, or you can buy it pretty cheap on the guild traders. And you can get this even at low level doing battlegrounds over and over and over. Essentially, you infect a enemy, and if you kill them within 10 seconds while they infected, they do an insane amount of damage. And essentially, if you kill a bunch of them, they'll do a cascading effect, killing a bunch of other enemies. And this is what I use in some of the footage you've been seeing in Craglorn, with multiple mobs just vaporizing. Couple other sets consider using: medium armor Rush of Agony. This is found in Dread Cellar Dungeon, and also the light armor Dark Convergence, another PvP set obtained through Rewards of the Worthy and just doing PvP, or you can buy this one in the Guild Traders. Both of these sets have unique pull or suck in of the mobs. Rush of Agony, you need to use a gap closer like Stampede from the two-handed skill line. In Dark Convergence, you're going to need a ground-based AoE, damage or heal, so something like Razor Caltrops is really good for this. Either way, you're going to cast either a gap closer or ground-based AoE, and it's going to suck in tons of mobs. Combine this 5-piece with another friend or you running Plague Break, and you'll have massive AoE nukes. This is actually what I use in PvP to kill players, but it also works on NPCs and zombies. Sorry, AD. A Withered Hand is an overland Alik'r set, and it's great for beginners because it gives back magic and health when killing mobs. Another beginner set is a craftable one called Vampire's Kiss. 5 traits, and it gives back health over time when killing mobs. Consider using this if you struggle with survival. And then an all-around fantastic damage dealing set, if you don't know what to go with, is Order's Wrath. This does come from the High Isle, so it's craftable, and it does some of the most damage and healing in the game. And then lastly, if you don't know about these sets, they're worth getting. They are kind of a struggle to get. One is a light armor set, False God's Devotion from Sunspire, and 2 is the medium armor Vicious Ophidian from Craglorn Trials like Hellraw. These give you back resources when killing a mob, like magic for False Gods and stamina for Vicious Serpent, and Major Expedition, boosting your speed, keeping your resources high and your speed high, exactly what you want for grinding. Now, here's a picture of my Stamina Sork loadout that I've been using for some of this footage. Consider using Plague Break on your front bar rather than Pillars of Nirn for more burst. I stack as much speed as possible running Major and Minor Expedition, Swift Jewelry, and Wild Hunt Mythic on an orb. I'm near the speed cap of 200% with huge AoE damage and nearly limitless sustain. Plus, with the Stamina Sorcerer, you get Critical Surge healing you when you're doing critical damage, so you don't need much survivability skills or gear. Check the website for more builds like this, specifically solo. Okay, now you know what the XP modifiers are. You know the gear to use. You got the tips. Let's jump into locations, finally. Just kidding. One last thing to go over that's an obvious one. There's 2 daily things to get massive XP boost. One is Battlegrounds, instance-based PvP, which you can do at level 10, and the other is normal dungeons, also at level 10, instance-based, and you can queue these up solo or in a group. Consider doing these mandatorily every single day for a whopping massive chunk of XP. But beyond getting the completion done, not that worthwhile. The Battleground display objectives and get second or first place. For normal dungeons, the best tip I can give you is partner up with a low-level character. That way you avoid super long DLC dungeons or endgame dungeons that take a lot longer. You get Fungal Grotto 1, you can bang that sucker out in 3 minutes for 200,000 plus your XP modifiers at endgame. Okay, now I promise we are finally here. The easiest solo or group grinds in the game, and these are base game. You do not need to buy anything to get this. Yes, you're welcome. I will have links in descriptions below to my VODs YouTube channel, which will show me grinding, doing a loop of these each solo or in a group. So check the link in the description if you want to see these grinds in its entirety. So keep in mind, monsters do not scale to level, so even at level 10, most of them are pretty easy. The downside of some of these grinds is they can be interrupted because the spots are in the open world, and it can be a bummer when your favorite spot is packed. The optimal group composition is 2 players, no more. First up is Greenshade, Verrant, Morass. The stars on these maps represent the places you pull all the packs of mobs to and nuke down with ultimates or AoE generally. This is one of the most popular spots and helpful grinds in the game. You have a very close way shrine with zombies, which level your fighters guild in a circular rotation. Pull, stack, whack, big XP. However, this grind spot is well known and becomes terribly oversaturated with other players during the busy parts of the day. And I typically don't come here that often because I like instance-based grinds. Consider this a go-to if it's not packed and you like to do this solo. There's an alternate spot in Greenshade called Shadow's Crawl. This is my go-to, little less experience, a little bit more difficult, but it's in the southwest corner. The downside of this grind is you make a horizontal path and double backs. You'll need a lot of speed to make this work very, very well, and there will also be range mobs to kill like archers and mages. A helpful skill is some type of pull. Specifically, Fighters Guild Silver Leash is a decent spammable for grinding, plus it pulls in those annoying range casters and archers. You'll also need to break free a few times one sun. Not the best spot, but it's going to level your Fighters Guild, and it's usually not packed. Moving along to a Daggerfall Covenant zone, Alik'r Beach. We're going to go near Sentinel, the starter town, and it's one of the most popular spots in Alik'r on the beachfront. Why not? This is a very simple and easy grind to do. Essentially, you look at the map and go in a circular rotation and learn the spots to clump and dump and pack the mobs. The only issue you might run into here is that they leash or return to their spawn pretty quick, so you'll have to kind of spend some time learning which ones can go a long ways and which ones can't. You'll also need to watch out for the massive red circles that these zombies leave once you kill them and kind of break free constantly from the stuns. This is one that's always packed, but thankfully I got an alternative. And we're sticking to Daggerfall Covenant. This is my second favorite spot in Alik'r. It's in the northeastern area near two bridges. This is a much less populated area and can be easy pickings when other spots are busy. You make sort of a loop, clear back on double bridges, and then come back, drop off to a lower level, and clear the zombies at the base, working your way back up the stairs, back up the bridges. You'll need to double back sometimes, but the mob packs are super dense and high respawn timers. In nearly all areas are camped. Consider going here. Moving on to Coldharbour, which is one of the best places to grind in the Elder Scrolls Online, but sadly most people know about this. There are tons of places, but Cliffs of Failure, it requires you to enter a portal in order to access the area northeast on the map. Rotate this area in a small circle for super easy kills, as the NPCs are mostly fighting each other, and this is one of the easiest grinds in the game, and it's a great alternative for folks who struggle with combat or having 10-15 mobs beat on them. Imperial City Sewers is up next. This is an instance-based area, so you're going to have to queue in the Alliance War tab. This is a bit more tension, a bit harder, and a bit more complex, but it is super lucrative financially if you can get this done. In this spot, you're going to encounter what's a PvE PvP zone, and the mobs will drop Telvar, which is a currency for making gold, selling various items, and collecting gear. The upside of this grind, you can make a ton of money. The downside is you can get ganked and lose all your Telvar and lose your spot. The general premise here is pretty much the same. You're going to rotate down in a clockwise rectangular area, pulling mobs as you go. Avoid the wandering bosses here, as they will hit very hard, especially in close quarters. If you're wondering why I have 1 million Telvar, no, it's not a hack. I did this on the PTS, but that would be nice, come to think of it. Moving on, Craglorn is up next. Base game, Spellscar, Lower Craglorn is a very good option, but it's also very popular and has plenty of zombies and high respawn times. Everyone knows about the spot, so it'll probably be cramped. Here's my favorite spot. I go start up near the Way Shrine. You go right on the outside, pulling 1 to 3 packs, depending if you're solo or in your group. You center them, dump a bunch of ultimates and AoE, bang, dead. The issue is the mobs leash or run away pretty easy on this spot, so don't expect massive pulls until you familiarize yourself with the area. Also, there are more spots shown in the footage, so explore the area and see what you can find, but this spot is optimal if you can get it at off-peak times. Now, you've reached the most efficient grinding spots, or skipped ahead with the timestamps. Either way, here are my two favorite. Skyreach Catacombs in Upper Craglorn is mathematically not the best, but it has everything you want in a grind. It's instance-based. You can reset quickly and refresh the mobs without anyone having a chance to disrupt your grind. The gear sets you obtain from the mobs in the chest are really high value, and they're great use when you're leveling. And 3, the mobs are zombies, so you'll level up your Fighter's Guild skill line as well. There are multiple ways to do this pull. Some people split up, going left and right, making the pulls much more complex, and a lot of times they leash or someone dies, they respawn, and your XP goes to almost nothing. My favorite and most consistent way is to grab all the mobs and then dump them in 3 various spots. These mobs have an enormous leash potential, so they will not run back to the spawn if you follow exactly where I go here and do. Once you clear the very first spot, now you're going to go to the center where there's a chest. You're going to hug the left wall in stealth, and then those mobs will not detect you, whether you're a Nightblade or not. One person opens the chest, one person stays in the back and starts getting the outlining mobs. Everyone moves to the back of the wall after all the mobs have been aggroed. This centers the archers in the range near you. Then you push up, drop your ultimates, nuke everything, hopefully with Plague Break, and boom, collect a massive amount of experience. The mobs will continue to respawn near that wall, so just hang out there for a while until you can loot the chest. Loot the chest because it is valuable, and then get going to one more bomb. Now, once you finish that 3 huge stack and whack pulls, what you're going to do is open up your group menu, and on PC, you're going to hit the T key, which leaves the instance. You don't actually have to walk all the way back and leave. You can just simply do that, saving time, increasing XP. Once you leave the instance, all you need to do is go in your group tab and change from normal to veteran return back to normal again. This will refresh the instance with all the zombies once again. And it's rinse and repeat. Sounds like fun, doesn't it? Next up is the best one, and that's Blackrose Prison in Berkmire, which does require a DLC or ESO+. Look, there are multiple ways to do this. I'm gonna show you the less complex way, and it'll save you a lot of time and a lot of headaches, but this is very simple and still one of the most effective, if not the most effective grinds in the game. You'll start by setting the difficulty to normal. Please do normal. Next, you pour it in and you'll clear a stage of mobs until the boss. You're only going to be doing this on the first stage. Once the boss spawns, after about 4 waves of ads, you'll pop open your group menu, hit that T key, and leave the instance. Do the exact same thing. Reset by switching to vet, switching back to normal, and then bang, port back in. In order to make this go well, you're going to need a pull, like Silver Leash from Fighters Guild. This pull will save you from those annoying range mobs while the melee will come towards you. There's an additional add-on called BRP Helper that shows where the spawn's locations are. Specifically, the mage will be like a mini boss, so it'll stay stationary and you will not be able to pull it. You'll need to learn where these are, and you have one of 2 ways of dealing with them. You go to them, interrupt, and stack everything on top of them, or you run away so that they chase you and center in the middle of the arena. Stack mobs in the center, drop ults, massive AoEs, deleted. This method is great for XP, but it's not for the faint at heart. You'll need huge AoE DPS, some skill at the game, plus decent gear to make it work. Also consider this is an arena, so you can use the buffs on the side if you need healing, someone dies, you need resources, or just more damage. So grab all those buffs if you need them. You're not going for a score. This also won't help you level your Fighters Guild either, which is needed on nearly every character endgame. I personally use this method when I have a character at max, I got my Fighters Guild done, and I need to morph or level an ultimate or a skill line. Consider earlier grinds until you get to that level, but if you have a buddy with you, all the skill and gear, you will level very quickly, trust me. Alright, moving along to a decent grind that gives you good material to sell, decon, and level crafting and make some gold. And that is the Dolmens in Alik'r. This is probably the easiest but the least experience per hour grind, but it requires almost 0 skill, and you just follow the leader and hit a couple buttons. Usually you run into the zone and ask for a Dolmen group, or on EU they do Dolmen Plus. There is nearly always someone leading a group, and you'll bounce from one of 3 Dolmen spots, killing zombies, getting treasure, and leveling. Consider this weak on experience, but great for materials, gold, and especially leveling jewelry, because you'll be getting jewelry constantly. This is also a great grind for completely inexperienced players who have little combat ability, because it's so easy. Most of the other players will be proficient in combat and do much of the work. Just make sure you get an attack in on the boss or at least one mob. And lastly, let me leave you with some other tips while grinding. Number 1, Consuming Trap from the World skill line. Consider this a game changer for resource sustain, and you get it right away when you start a new character. You just need to morph it. Reaving Blows. Blue champion point slottable is a must for survivability if you struggle and you have some extra champion points laying around. Another blue slottable is Occultal Overload. This provides a huge chain reaction nuke, especially paired with Plague Break. You will need to put a status effect on a target for this to react. You can do that with burning or poison, whether it's in your in-class ability or enchants on your weapons. Number 4, consider slotting a gap closer to close the distance and make things go faster. Number 5, consider a snare removal like Race Against Time from Psijic Order or Medium Armor Shuffle. Most classes have some way to remove snare or provide a big speed boost. Number 6, speaking of speed boost, Major Expedition. You can get this usually in your class, a skill, or everyone can get access to this via the bow and the Hasty Retreat passive, and when you max out bow skill line, you just dodge on your back bar with the bow, boom, you got Major Expedition for 4 seconds. Number 7, leveling skill lines. Make sure you slot skills from different weapon types. Even if you don't plan on using them, you have an extra slot on your bar, put a Resto Staff ability on there, put a Destro Staff ability, it doesn't matter. You won't be able to use it, but the game doesn't care. It will level up the skill line for you. Number 8 is another blue CP, and that's called the Preparation passive. You have to dig down into a sub-constellation, but this is huge for damage reduction, giving you 10% for NPCs. Makes a massive difference in your survivability. Number 9, another CP slottable is Celerity passive in the Red Tree. This gives you a lot of speed. I also stack this on top of 3 Swift, and even the Wild Hunt Mythic to get near the speed cap and be the fastest thing you've ever seen in ESO. And number 10, the best all-around food is a PvP one that I usually use on my my PvP builds, and that's called Jewels of Mistru. It's super low cost, super high regen, and exactly what you need while grinding mobs. Well, gang, that's a video. I'll post this on my website as a reference, so if you need a map, reminder of the grinds, come check that out at Deltiasgaming.com. Check the links in the description below for other helpful guides and tips. Also, consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed this content, and watch me over on twitch.tv/Deltiasgaming, where I stream ESO live, and my mom claims that I'm the best streamer in the world. Thanks for watching.